Hello, welcome to the show. So we are doing a podcast on should. Should is a dangerous word.
We haven't done a podcast on just one word in a while, and usually it's like love or fear or
Yeah, forgiveness.
forgiveness. Yeah, like those are usually the one word ones.
Yeah,
Should.
should. So I was talking with the client, and I don't even remember what we were talking about, to be honest. But I was kind of going off on this word should, and because uh, I see it come up in a lot of situations where there's non-action. So I said something like should is a hypothetical form of non-action. I think that's what I said. If it wasn't, I was something
If
real close to that.
it wasn't, that's what you mean. That's what you meant.
Maybe. So it was just it was just, well, like, stuff flows out and I don't know where it comes from. And when it's good, I know it didn't come from me. So it came from something smarter than I.
I can attest.
So, huh?
I said I can attest to that.
Yes. So yeah, it definitely ain't me. So the word should, a lot of times I used to see it in personal training a lot. People like, oh, you'd be like, hey, like when I first started personal training, I used to have to sell my own personal training sessions. So you'd meet somebody, you sit down, you try to sell them some personal training, and try to tell them why it's good for them. And a lot of times they'd say things like, well, I should be able to do it myself. But you can't. Like, but are you? Well, I haven't yet, but I should be able to. I should really do better with the way I eat. Yeah, well, are you? Well, no, but I should. Yeah, so it's just like, if should is just, it's something that we say, and there's enough clarity to the things that follow the word should. I think that tricks us into thinking that we're actually doing something.
That makes sense.
It's like, oh, well, I've gained clarity on this situation. What I really should do is I should really go to the gym. And if we say it forcefully, then it's really good. Oh, I should really do that. Yeah, you know what? I should. You get all excited because you should do something. It's nothing. Shoulding doesn't accomplish anything ever. Doing it is wonderful. Shoulding doesn't. It's like you either do stuff or you don't.
Well, there's also the opposite, right? There's the opposite where you're judging yourself with the word should.
Right.
I should be I should be able to do this myself.
Right.
Should have done.
Right.
I should have been able to do this. I should be able to take care of this or whatever.
Right. And what that does is it gives you the ammunition to stay stuck.
Right.
So you say, well, I should be able to do this myself. So I just, it's that. So there must be something wrong with me because I didn't do it. So therefore I don't have to, or it's just this, I always say that, like, that fear lives in the unexamined space, and should is an unexamined space. It doesn't go far enough in one direction or another to actually accomplish anything. It's just like we said we should something, so that means it's some sort of conclusion. It's not. There is no conclusion. There's no plan to fix it. There's no enthusiasm to do it differently, or if there is, it doesn't matter anyway, because you're not talking about doing it. You're just talking about should doing it. Or, if you've decided that the reason that you didn't is because you should, but you're just not capable. Well, that doesn't do anything either. I should, yeah, I'll beat myself up because I should have done that. Well, I got an idea. Don't, instead of beating yourself up for not doing something that you should, why don't you find a way to do it instead? That's, we got to travel all the way into the solution. That's why, that's why I say it's a hypothetical form of non-action. We just, hy- uh, hypothetically, I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it, or I don't know, because I haven't even looked into it deep enough to figure out what the heck I should means. you know, I'm just saying I should. So it's, we really have to look into, follow it all the way through. If you hear yourself saying I should, follow that through and see, where it can take you. It could be a gateway to wonderful places. you know? If you say, what I should do is I really should start eating better. Oh, okay. That's a nice idea. That's an idea. Oh, okay. You should start eating. Okay, how? Like, what's that look like? How are you going to implement that? Are you going to go to the grocery store tomorrow and get the stuff and then start cooking at home? When are you going to cook at home? Like, what does this entail? And if you really start following that road, now all of a sudden you start getting to the solution. Now you start getting towards that, the 3 rules for solving any problem. Get clarity on what the problem is, find out what the solution is, and then implement that solution. Like, should isn't any one of those 3. you know?
That's a throwback. That three steps to solving any problem was like our 3rd episode or something.
Yeah, it was early on. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. It's the, anything other than those 3 things, it doesn't solve a problem. We spend a lot of time navigating our way around staying stuck. And should is one of those ways. Should can either make us think that, we're excited, so we're going to do something even though we're not, because we don't have any plan, or it can beat us up and prevent us from taking the steps, because you should be able to do it on your own.
Well, so should is about expectations, right? Should is either the expectation you have for yourself or the expectation that other people have for you. Like, the word
Yeah.
tied directly, I feel like, to um this thing of expectations and judgment.
Right.
Expectations and judgment like are just they're pulling on either side of the word should.
Yes.
Like that is should breeds or is bred from expectations or judgment.
Yes. It's an egoic word. It's all based around ego. If we talked about saying it about ourselves, but, like you just said, it's, we use it on other people even more.
Well, yeah, they should do that.
Yeah, they should do that. We have no idea what they should do. We don't know what they've been through. We don't know what their capabilities are. We don't know what their incapabilities are. We don't know. We have no idea about anything about that person. It's like, homeless people are perfect. They should just get a job. Oh, really? Do you have any idea why they're there? And maybe there's some of them that should just go get a job. Maybe, but you don't have the information to make that decision. It's not like it's a blanket statement. There are things that cause things in this world. So, a lot of times, it's like, drug addiction and stuff is so misunderstood. It's getting more understood, thank God. But, people look at it, oh, they should just stop. Well, yeah, of course they should, like, but they can't. That's the whole problem. Like, if people were sitting there with a drug or alcohol problem and said, hey, you know what? I'm destroying my life and the lives of everyone that I love, and everything's falling apart. What I should do is just stop. and then they're capable of stopping, we would literally have no addicts or alcoholics on the planet. Not one. Because it's pretty obvious that you should stop at some point, but there's more pieces to it than that. There's something that's preventing them from doing that. And that's what needs to be dealt with. So it's such a judgmental word, like you said. We can sit on the outside and it's a form of complaining. Well, it should be like this.
Right. Or we're judging ourselves.
Right. Which is even,
Should be doing this. We should be.
Yeah. I don't know which is worse. I guess they're both equally as bad,
Judgment, another one of the original episodes of the show from the first 15 or so. And not having expectations. I mean, is there ever a time when should is a good word?
I don't think so. I don't really think so. I mean, it can be
should, and then you follow it, like you said.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it can be a leaping off point, but the problem is it's an end game for a lot of people. That's where they stop. And I mean, yeah, you could be like, you can have an idea and say, hey, I should do something about this. And then if you follow that thought and actually figure out what you should do about it and take the action, well, now you're onto something. Now you've got a solution. But you just can't stop there. That's the problem. It's, like again, the personal training thing. It's like, and of course I'm talking about people that have the money to hire a personal trainer. There's people who have the money to hire a personal trainer that they go, no, I should be able to do it on my own. There's no reason why I can't do this on my own. I shouldn't have to pay somebody to get me to exercise. Why? I mean, why? Does that mean you're a bad human being? Is God going to be at the pearly gates, be they lived a wonderful, loving life and really touched a lot of people in good ways, but I'm sorry, you're going to have to go burn in hell for eternity because you hired a personal trainer to better yourself. And you shouldn't have had to have done that. I mean, we get so caught up in these, like you said, expectations of what we should be able to do and what we shouldn't be able to do. It doesn't really matter if you should or you shouldn't. What matters is, are you or are you not? That's what matters. So if you're sitting there and you're not working out and you go, I should be able to get to the gym 3 days a week without hiring a personal trainer, but I'm not. Okay, fact, you're not. That's really important. So what do you need to do to change the fact that you're not going to the gym?
Right.
And then take that action. And it doesn't necessarily have to be hiring a trainer. You can pack your gym bag and put it in the car. You can, write out a schedule, figure out when you're going to go, and then make sure you do. You can hold yourself accountable. But if you try doing all those things and it still doesn't work, then keep looking for the solution instead of settling into, oh, I should be able to figure out a way to do this on my own. Yeah, but you're not.
Why do we like to stay stuck?
Because it's comfortable.
Why do we should ourselves to death?
It's a lot of it is just subconsciously we think it's easier. Because, really, we've been trained to live this way since we're little children. We're literally domesticated into living life in a way that literally does not work. I mean, look around, it doesn't work. So we're things that people accept as normal is absurd. Well, I should be like this. This is a good example. I should be able to do it myself. And then 5 people will be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You should. What does that mean? That's a statement that means literally nothing. It doesn't change the situation in any way, shape, or form. So it's, but why thousands and tens of thousands and millions of people will just literally accept that as an actual statement without dissecting it, going into it deeper, and being like, oh, that doesn't actually really do anything. Like if you say you should do something, that, like, nothing changes. Do you realize that if you say you should do something and that's all you do, you're going to be in the exact same spot 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? Probably worse, because the world is spinning and you're not moving forward. So it's, actually worse, but nobody slows down enough to realize that, you know. So, and that's what we need to do, is just slow down and dissect these things that we take for granted and people just say so flippantly, and just be like, does this actually make sense? Is my life getting better when I say I should do something? No, nothing changes. Oh, well, then maybe you should do something different. you know
How do you feel about the pressure of should from others? Like, for example, you talked about like homeless people should get a job. Um, Immigrants should go back to their country. Uh, you know, moms like the internet is full of people shooting other people to death. Like, the judgment that you get in a in anything, like, moms shaming other moms because they should be able to like breastfeed their child until a certain age,
yeah.
not use formula because formula is bad, because, or like, you should do anything, and like, there's so much. How do you feel about the added pressure of should in the age of the internet and everybody having an opinion and sharing their opinion and yelling their opinion at you?
Yeah, it's just, it's white noise. It doesn't do anything. It's just a bunch of noise. And I understand that the internet has made it worse, to some degree, just because it's easier. You can just sit there and, oh, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this. Yeah, that doesn't change anything. There's no action in there. So we should discuss it. Why should we discuss it? Are we going to come to a solution and then implement that solution? Because if we're not, I have no interest in discussing it. It's judgment. We need to, one of the founding things that is the problem in this world is that we don't give people space to be who they are. We think that we're all supposed to be the same, and we're supposed to think the same, and we're supposed to do things the same. And we're not. We're literally not. It's just, there's 8 billion of us, and we're all supposed to be different. It's the whole point of it. Like, that it's the whole point. I kind of stumbled on this idea. I think that there's a reason that that it's not natural to have children with your family members. Like, this is part of nature. Like, if if brothers and sisters are having kids together, nature will actually kick out birth defects in a lot of situations, because nature is kind of saying, hey, not really the direction we wanted you to go. So what that and I was thinking about this, and I was like, well, I like to understand why things are the way they are. It's that, like, what the hell is that? Why would, and I'm thinking, I'm like, it's because of diversity. Nature wants us to diversify. It wants us to be diverse. It wants us to be different. So much so that one of our core instincts is driven by making our species different. That, like, nature is pushing us in that direction. So it's like, I think that that's a foundational principle, is that we are supposed to be different. And unconsciously, what we think that everybody is supposed to think and be like we are, and we're not. We don't know everything, man. We don't know anything. One of the coolest spiritual principles is that, the more you understand, the less you know. Like when you get that, when you start heading in that direction, that's when you're really standing on some firmer spiritual ground. This is why I said earlier, like when something really good comes in, I know it ain't me. Like I speak passionately because that's how I am. And I believe this stuff to be true because of, all stuff I've experienced and learned and all that stuff. But I mean, I could be completely wrong and 90% of it, I don't know. Like, who am I to say? I'm a teacher expressing my views, but I don't pretend that I, fully comprehend the mysteries of the universe. I just speak the way that I see things, and people that connect with it, it's helpful. It's helpful for their lives, and that's why I do it. But yeah, it's thinking that we're all supposed to be the same and look at things the same and function the same is just, it goes against nature. It's silly and it's absurd. And if we can stop doing that and just focus on ourselves, focus on becoming happier, peaceful, more loving beings. And a huge part of that is giving space for other people to be how they are when it doesn't affect us. I'm not saying if somebody breaks into your house, you shouldn't run at them with a peace sign. That's not what I'm saying. You can defend yourself. I mean, there's times when to take action.
Your analogies and examples today have been crazy. I love them.
Yeah, they really have. Peace, damn it, peace. There's times to take action. It's just, but for the most part, especially, we're in the United States, 99% of most of our lives is not life-threatening.
Yeah.
It's just not, and we act like it is. And it's just relax, give people space to be where they are. And if you want to walk towards solution with a particular issue, then do that and do it out of love. And this world would change a lot quicker if we did that. Instead, we're in this anger energy and we have to fix this. You ain't fixing nothing like that. You're not fixing anything with that energy. But if you just center yourself and be like, you know what, we need to walk towards a solution out of love. I guarantee you'll find one.
Yeah.
And you'll actually make ground in areas with that energy.
Well, I would, should we, I was trying to make a pun on should, and I don't want to now. Of course, like I should do it. How do you detach from other people's shoulds? Like you talked earlier about, like, if you take your should, when you think of the word should, that you should do something, follow it to the end, and or don't use it. How do you stop yourself from taking on the other people's shoulds that they're putting on you?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and it takes care of a lot of things that are attached to this. It's really standing firmer in your reality. This is why all work is self-work. It's because, the question is, how can we stop outside influences from affecting us? And subconsciously, our mind says, see, there are outside influences affecting us. that are outside us. They're external. How do we control external circumstances? And the answer is that you never control external circumstances. It's, the answer is it's always inside work. It looks external, but the only way, there's two ways of going after this. One works and one doesn't. And one way is going, okay, I'm going to be your teacher and I'm going to try to teach you how to control other people so they don't say things that upset you. If any teacher ever says they can do that, please walk away because you can't. I mean, how can you possibly control what everybody else does in the world towards you in order to arrive at a happy place? You can't control everything outside of you to feel happiness inside. And that's not where it comes from anyway. So the more you work on yourself, the more firmly you can stand in your truth, then somebody can say, they can should you all day long and it doesn't really matter, because you just stand, it doesn't affect you. Somebody says, oh, you should, you should really do your podcast different. No, I don't think I will. Because this is just authentically me and I enjoy it. And, the people who like to listen to information in this particular way, they enjoy it too. So I'm going to do it like this because I enjoy it. And the people who are supposed to connect with are enjoying it. That's my perspective. Now, somebody can sit down and try to change my opinion on that for 2 hours. And they're going to land right in the same spot as when we started. Because that's just how I am. That's something somebody else said isn't going to change my opinion on it. I mean, if they have some good points, I might try to listen if I'm in a good mood. But it's like the firmer we stand in our own truth, the less all this stuff matters. Somebody can be like, oh, you should do that. Nah. Oh, yeah, let me tell you why. Well, no, you're telling me why you should do it. You're not telling me why I should do it or why you think I should do it, which doesn't really matter because it's not your life.
Last question, because we should wrap up this podcast soon. And that is there a word?
Well, will we follow that through to the end, Ben? Will we wrap up this podcast soon?
Yes.
Okay.
We will, because there's only so much storage space in a month.
Yeah.
So we will. I mean, sometimes we go over a lot, but we probably will wrap up soon. Anyway, last question: is there a word that you would replace should with?
I will. I think it's, kind of how we touched on earlier. It's should. I mean, there's no power to a word. So the actual word should is not necessarily anything wrong with it as long as it's a stepping stone somewhere. And that's what we need to, remind ourselves and train ourselves. If I hear that word should, I need to go further with that. That's just a bridge somewhere, So where is that bridge leading? I need to figure that out and follow it all the way and either decide to take action or not to take action. And if what you're doing isn't working for you, you shouldn't keep doing that. You should find another way to do that. You should follow it further. But sitting in that space of I should just never accomplishes anything. So don't worry about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Worry about what you can do and what you can't do. And if you can't do something and there's an accomplishment that you want to reach at the end, then find a way to get there. It's like there's obstacles to everything. That's life. It's an experiential world we live in. We're supposed to experience things and overcome things and work towards things. And it's just part of the game, So it's Don't let something stop you. If you think you should be doing something, then find a way to do it. Don't sit there and sit just because you should. If you should, then do it. You just got to find a way. And whether you need help or whether you can do it on your own, that remains to be seen, dependent on the situation. But find a way to do it if you should be doing it.
I liked this one. So Glenn, you can find Glenn, glennambrose.com. You can call him, you can email him, you can, you know, hire him for as a life coach. You can, send him stuff, send him questions for 5 questions with Glenn. Video versions of the podcast are out, Patreon, all sorts of stuff. Everything. The hub for Glenn Ambrose is glennambrose.com. So anywhere you want to find Glenn, go there. And your book, man.
And my book, check out my book.
It's out.
It's out and available to you. So, it's a great way to get a lot of this information all at once and have it in your house that you can refer back to it too. One thing that I didn't necessarily plan on this, but has a lot of small chapters.
Yeah.
So, which I actually like reading books like that myself because, my ADHD kicks in and it's like, if I can, and I'm not a huge reader. So if I can just really get like a complete thought in on a subject in a short amount of space and wrap my brain in it, then if I feel like reading more, I'll keep reading and doing more. But if I don't feel like reading more at that particular time, at least I got, one concept in. And
like a little
plus,
research.
Right. And it's really good to, like, when you're struggling with something, you can just scroll through the contents and there's like 60 chapters in the thing. So you can just go and be like, okay, what am I struggling with? Oh, there's a chapter on it. And go, get that instant help that you need. So yeah, check out the book.
And the reviews are in. People are loving it. People are starting to tell us that they're, reading it and all good so far.
All good so far. So,
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Go check out the book, and we'll talk with you soon.